Hey Joshua, how are you? Welcome to my channel, 12 Vels. How are you? Um, so I am on live tonight because there has been some news that has been going on that I haven't heard anyone really talking about. Do you hear the fan, or is the fan just bothering me? Yes, Joshua, you are first place winner. Yes, you are. Let me turn off the fan because it's distracting me. I do apologize. You can still hear me, of course. I'm just gonna turn off this fan because at the moment I'm not too hot. I'm pretty comfortable. Yes, God is good all the time. Um, I want to do this. Put my image back. so, last time I had talked about some of the news medias that was disturbing me. I had talked about a case that was in Chicago and Ohio. So the case that was in Chicago was regarding Korshanda Hatter. She was the one who got beat up by a group of elementary school children, and the video footage that was uploaded and went viral disturbed a lot of the people in the community. And the outrage was something that went viral as well. Then I talked about a case that happened in Ohio where a child was attacked and brutally beat up and assaulted by peers as well. She was like 5, and some of the kids were 10, 9, and maybe her age. And they had pulled out some of her braids and stuck things inside of her. That was very disturbing. So I'm back to some more disturbing news, and I try to bring some humor to the way I deliver stuff for you, so you can be able to digest it. So I was looking at the situation where the Ivy League graduate that allegedly took the life of the United Healthcare CEO, court case was going. From the beginning of the case, um, well, should I say the media footage of it, I thought was outrageous because you see this masked man approach this man, another man walking in a suit, from behind with a rifle in public, and no one seems to be disturbed. Like no one is seeing this rifle that this guy picks up, and then he shoots the man. So I just wanted to bring up that story because I always found it disturbing, but I'm finding it even more disturbing now that they're talking about the search was illegal. So the man has his lawyers. The lawyers are trying to say that he had an illegal search when the police approached him in Altoona, PA, and they're trying to say his arrest was unlawful, which I think is really outrageous. Another thing I find disturbing And what I put together is how, like in the case of Dylan Roof, and how he had unalived 9 people in a historic Black church. When he was arrested and so forth, the police were so concerned about him being hungry that they took him to a Burger King. And this particular case, with how they're trying to say this Ivy League graduate, like they're not calling him a murderer, a monster. So I have this picture, right? So this picture is here because I want to know, like, do you ever take tours in white people neighborhoods? Like, do you do that? Because I find that a lot of Black people, I don't find enough of them take tours in white people's neighborhoods. I don't even think that they're interested in touring their neighborhoods or looking at their movies. Research has shown that if you don't have a Black character in the movie, oftentimes Black people won't even watch it. But one of the things I find extremely disturbing is that I don't find that as Black people, as a community, that we advocate for the same rights that white people get. And you're not going to know how they're treated or what they get if you don't watch them. I need you to take more tours in white people's neighborhoods. Oh, I know you probably like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not interested, but I want to tell you, encourage you to do it, because you can't advocate properly if you don't know how they operate for their own, right? So again, the person we're talking about is accused of premeditated murder. Like they're saying he thought it out. It was clear. And in many instances where I've seen videos or reports, they would be calling that kind of person a monster. And I don't find that they're doing that. But instead of me constantly talking about it, and you might not know what I'm talking about, why don't I show you what I'm talking about, so then we can possibly even talk about what I am clearly talking about. So let's go to the news story. Again, this is for educational purposes. We will show it. Let's go. Make sure you see it. I'm gonna put it I'm gonna put it on the main screen, and I will chime in for things that I think is interesting. Let's put it that way.
Seeing the chilling moments after Luigi Mangione. Tonight, for the first time, we're seeing the chilling moments after Luigi Mangione allegedly shot and killed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside a New York City hotel. You can see the shooter walk toward the victim, appearing to briefly glance down as he lay dying on the sidewalk before turning to cross the street, then starting to run, disappearing down an alley. This week, new evidence is being revealed in court as accused killer Luigi Mangione sits and watches.
I have a customer here that some other customers were suspicious of, that he looked like the CEO shooter from New York.
We're hearing the 911 call from a manager at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, saying the suspected murderer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson may be in the restaurant. At the time, photos of a person of interest had been plastered everywhere. Several customers in the McDonald's flagging Mangione as the suspect from his distinctive eyebrows.
Is this individual still there? Yes, he's still in the back of our lobby by the bathroom. Like 6 customers walk up to me, and I was like, "Okay, guys." I say,
So I want to come in at this point because of the fact that the McDonald's manager was hesitant to make that call, to the point that 6 different people had to insist. Whereas I just don't find that to be the case when it comes to melanated people. I also want to highlight the fact that I haven't personally heard anybody refer to this as a white on white crime, because you do notice that this is not a situation of um, different races coming upon each other. But um, if you also notice, I don't even think there's any real urgency going on with this case, right? So we're talking about a United Healthcare CEO. I don't see the outrage from his counterparts, right? Um, this is just to highlight the fact that our media and the minds of Americans are wired to care about racist material in media. Because these are white people, I don't feel that they're getting the you know media attention, right? It's not like the September 11th, right? So September 11th, all stations is just constantly inundated with the conversation about 9/11, right? The Pope, right? We you couldn't turn the channel without seeing them talking about installing the new Pope. But when it comes to this situation with this white on white crime, there's not a big talk about it. People would rather talk about people losing EBT than to talk about somebody openly firing a rifle on a New York sidewalk to a CEO. Like, that's crazy. This is a crazy story. And you know, it's not racist enough for them. It's not racist enough for them to care, right? And we're dealing with 2 wealthy people. They don't want to talk about this narrative. It's not a narrative they want to spin because the guy is an Ivy League student. What? No. No one wants to talk about that. It's just so white. Let's go back. It's very white.
I was like, "I can't really do anything." But he's wearing a black sweater jacket with a medical mask and a tan khaki colored like beanie. The only thing you can see is his eyebrows.
Mangione has pleaded not guilty to murder charges. It's all part of a days-long hearing, defense attorneys and prosecutors sparring over the most critical evidence, what should be in and what should be thrown out. The fight giving the public a window into new details of the case.
We're not even at the trial yet, and people cannot get enough of Luigi Mangione and this case.
This entire story.
I want to come in on that statement. He said people cannot get enough, but I don't think that's true because I don't see it on. This is not something that's all in my news feed, right? So I do think people have had enough. I don't even think people want to hear about it. And I think that a lot of people don't know about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a disturbing case where the media, mainstream media, is not really throwing this in our faces. They don't want to. Just like this situation about um the white man that allegedly took his life in his cell that nobody noticed him hanging from his prison cell, right? um that was throwing these parties with underage children in it, right? That allegedly all of the elites would go to. So instead of focusing on that particular situation, they decided to go focus on Diddy parties, right? But they're all messy, okay? And they're all dealing with very wealthy people. But, you know, P. Diddy and his drama with other entertainers, and you know, like Tupac and Biggie Smalls and all of so many people, right? Complaining about being drugged at his parties and all of these allegations that have been swept under the rug. People listen to that more, right? Because it's likely that people have heard more about allegations about P. Diddy parties than they have about the other person's parties. You understand? Just like this case right here where I'm talking about. If the majority of us don't talk about um this Ivy League graduate, right? And what he is being accused of doing, people are not going to pay attention, right? They're not going to know. So it's all about who's covering it, how many people are covering it, and what people are really knowing. And I'm telling you, from me, which I consider myself a channel that gets a lot of political news feeds, I don't get feeds about this particular case. I think it's odd. So I want you to see it because I don't think it's just me. I don't think it's just me, and I don't think everybody's talking about it.
Story had appeared like something out of a movie. Mangione, a good-looking Ivy League graduate accused of the assassination-style shooting of Thompson.
Welcome back to New York.
This active.
You heard what the reporter said? He said a good looking. I mean, this person is accused of murdering a CEO. And the reporter said a good looking Ivy League graduate. It's all this money. It's so much money. They can hardly report negatively about the situation. You hear someone in the background as they get them, welcome back to New York. Now, of course, I'm sure that was very sarcastic since, you know, they had to go out of jurisdiction to get him. Okay, this situation happened in New York City, and they found him in Altoona, PA. Okay, so he was out of state. Now, if he's the one who did it, right? If he did it, he got out of state. He left the state. Okay, he was not found in New York. But I think it's interesting because I don't really hear that. You would have to really look at videos that cover stories about Black people to see how this is outrageous. Like I'm going to give you some suggested things to view, but I think it's hilarious almost, the lack of anger and rage that is in the report about somebody that cold-bloodedly possibly unalived the person in public. This wasn't someone that was hidden. This was done in public. Hey, Brian. Thanks for coming in. Brian, happy birthday. I know you was, my mom's birthday month is this month too. Her birthday is the 28th. And then the following month is not only my dad's birthday, but the Haitian horse birthday. I call him the Haitian centaur. So let's go back to the news video I'm showing. Again, this is for educational purposes. We're talking about this case right here, and how I think that all of it is messy. All of it. Oh, go check out his channel, guys. Brian Hamilton's channel. He is a current musician. He's been traveling with other musicians, all different places. It's awesome. And he has it documented on his channel. So definitely go out there, check his channel out, subscribe. Let's resume to the video.
Terrorism and the violence that stems from it is something that would not be tolerated in the city.
We're going to respectfully decline to make any comment at this time. But Mr. Mangione appreciates everyone's support. Thank you so much.
The case has captivated the country, earning Mangione rabid fans not just for his looks, but for his alleged mission, taking on the U.S. health insurance system.
I have never seen a case like this. It has a life and an energy of its own on social media.
Policeman, he come and take Luigi far away.
And the outpouring was instant and intense.
It's too much. And then all the merchandise that people are trying to sell.
Thompson had been in New York for a United Healthcare Investor Conference. Wednesday, December 4th, 2024, shortly before 7 a.m., he was on West 54th Street when cameras captured the moment a figure is seen walking up and shooting Thompson from behind.
Note how they said, notice a figure. They didn't even say a noticeably a man or white man. They said, oh, noticeably a figure is holding a rifle. Like, what's going on here? What is going on here? And then you have people on social media creating a dance for him. So it looks like there was a lot of people that didn't like Brian Thompson, right? So this is a big problem. It's a big problem when you have someone that is disliked, right? That rights is taken away from them, and the majority of people really just don't care, like in their behaviors is saying, well, and that is really disturbing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, did you not see this figure? This figure, no, it was some man with a rifle in public comes up from behind this CEO, and he offs him. That is some wild stuff. That is wild. And then you don't have shaken terror people in terror in New York. They're not in terror. You don't have this outraged for the safety of the people. You don't think that this was weird? I think it's weird. I think this is weird. Let's go back. Let's continue.
This woman, holding her coffee, heard the first shot. She flinches, sees Thompson stumble, then seems to look straight at the gunman, still taking aim, before running off. Seconds later, a man in the hotel steps outside, sees Thompson crumpled on the ground, and starts pointing in the suspect's direction. But it would be 3 minutes before police arrive and tend to the CEO. Another 8 minutes until an ambulance pulls up.
The United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, shot and killed at point-blank range in Midtown Manhattan early this morning.
Gunned down. Police calling it premeditated, pre-planned. The gunman, they say, was waiting.
All eyes were riveted by the week-long multi-state manhunt to find the suspect.
We start with breaking news today. The arrest of a person of interest in Pennsylvania.
The manhunt tracked the killer using video from the thousands of cameras that blanket New York City. First, as he left the scene, then rode a bike into Central Park.
Leapfrogging over one camera, over another, over another. They were.
Now, again, pay attention to this. It looks like clearly they know who did it. They said they have their cameras pinpointing every move. So even with that, they still say a person of interest. How much money does this guy have? They said it's a person of interest. They said it was a figure that, came from behind. They have witnesses that look like they're just in shock. Why are they in shock? Or is it just like they show a woman holding her coffee instead of running inside of the building? What's going on here? What is going on? You don't think this is a strange story? Is it just me? If it's just me, it's okay, because I think it's a strange story. I think all of this is crazy. And I think what's even more crazy is how I don't see the outrage and the disturbance. I don't feel the people are disturbed enough. And I think that that's even stranger. And I said, well, how is that? What is going on? How are you not disturbed by this case? How are you not disturbed? This is weird and very disturbing. We're resumed to the tape. Again, this is for educational purposes. We're talking about current events and New York news. This is New York.
Able to track this guy to this youth hostel on 103rd in Amsterdam. So at the youth hostel, they find this amazing piece of video. As he's checking into the youth hostel, the lady behind the counter asks him to drop his mask to see his face, to see his smile, and he obliges. And that was the picture that went viral.
So they followed this man via the video footage that's on the streets in New York City to a New York City youth hostel. And they still say a person of interest. They refer to him as a figure. They do not refer to this man as a monster, as a murderer. They refer to him as an Ivy League graduate that is good looking. You don't think that's disturbing? They said this person, Bill Thompson, which is the United Healthcare CEO, was killed point blank range. They said the person was waiting for him. This was a premeditated situation that took place where someone lost their life, and the person that they followed and got visual footage of them, they're not saying anything negative about him. What is negatively said about this person right here? You don't think that's disturbing? Please put it in the comment section. This is live right now. And if you're catching the replay, the thing that's really interesting is how nobody is visible to me that's in my chat. I have done these kind of videos before, and I'll have like 300 views or something. But I won't be commenting and so forth. And I think that's interesting, because if you notice, I didn't put anything inside of the title for me to feel like I should be getting flagged or banned in some kind of way. But I don't see people in the chat. Isn't that something? Over 2,000 subscribers. and I see 0. But we shall go forward. Let's go back to the video. And thank you for those who catch the replay and those who may be watching, but from a device that is not common to what they notify me about, because they do have different sources that they say we have people watching us from. Let's go back again. This is for educational purposes. I want you to pay attention to some of these things that I think is very disturbing, and I want you to pay attention to it. This is for educational purposes, and thank you again for watching.
Viral photo fueling an extensive search, which finally ended with that tip call from McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. The hearing is focused on the evidence police collected when they confronted Mangione there. Police body camera footage has been shown in court, revealing what happened when officers approached and later arrested him. Mangione and his defense team are working to use that body camera footage against the prosecution, trying to get key evidence thrown out before he goes on trial. Specifically, Mangione's backpack and the contents inside, a 3D printed 9mm gun, and a notebook full of handwritten notes detailing the writer's animosity toward the health insurance industry.
If the defense...
So I want to come in here again with this because they're talking about discovery, right? So when you are dealing with these type of cases, you go to the courthouse and you listen to them and so forth. They may use different words than they do on a news report, but what the findings that they find at the scene is called discovery. And when you see the report, there's clearly something's going on. He has letters written about his disdain for the healthcare. It's the whole institution of it all, and he has weapons. Now he doesn't necessarily. They didn't find right then and there the rifle, but he has ammunition on him. And some people have said, when it comes to the case, this case being that this was a CEO, that he didn't operate alone. So I want you to pay attention to that with that in mind too. That they said there's no way that he operated alone. But what we do know is that he has been taken in alive, right? Like somehow they was able to find him. Not only did they get him alive, but he's smiling and he comes off very comfortable if you are looking at his body language. So that's very weird. Like I feel like he has been told he's good, and you see it in his body language. You see it in his smiles, his like unbothered behavior, very casual, very comfortable. And that is interesting for what has happened, right? So do you have him? Do you? I don't know, but I know this guy's very comfortable. Let's go back to the video. Again, this is for educational purposes and for conversation.
Wins everything in the hearing. We're still probably going to get a trial, but it's going to be a very different trial. A trial without the murder weapon, without the journal, and without key identifications in this case.
Mangione's defense says police seized and searched that backpack before the 24-year-old was arrested and before they had a warrant to do so. Prosecutors say under Pennsylvania law, officers had a legal right to search the backpack. In court, they showed blurred video of Mangione peeling off his clothing before.
Isn't me, but who looks like this at a case where you're on trial for a murder? Who looks like this? Like what is going on here? And how can you watch it and not be disturbed? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is going on here? Were you told that, oh, doesn't matter what's going on, we're gonna throw this out? We're gonna throw this out because, like, think about it. Why was he in another state? Was he in another state for a reason? Where does he have that he resides? Right? So where is his residence? Because why was he in New York, and then why did he end up in PA exactly at this time? Like, what's going on time frame wise? Like, why would someone be so comfortable? There's a lot of components to this story that will pinpoint you to this case. So how are you comfortable? Right? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. That's why I'm talking about it here, because I want to hear what you have to say from your expertise or so forth, from your point of view, because it's not making sense to me at all. And I just don't get it. But let's continue.
Officers' cameras are turned off for a strip search. Some of the newly released images of evidence show what police say they pulled from Mangione's pockets, including what they described as a to-do list with items like USB, digital cam, and a map of streets. It also included notes, survival kit, and hot meal and water bottles. Body camera footage also shows officers taking this wallet from his jacket pocket. They said it contained thousands of dollars in cash along with foreign currency seen here.
So he has thousands of dollars on him. That's not common, right? But what is common about this case? That you will call him something other than a murderer. Like, you're calling him so what is going on that he's being allowed a title of a good-looking Ivy League graduate? Y'all don't think this is crazy? Why does he have foreign currency? Is it because he was getting ready to get the hell out of America? And does he have an airplane ticket stating that? Like, what's going on? Why does he have foreign currency? What is going on? What is really going on? Do you know what is going on? This is a strange case. And it was really strange for me is the fact that the reporters are not negatively labeling him. So it's odd, the label, right? So how they're labeling him is weird to me. But let's continue.
Here, the hearing was paused today when the judge announced Mangione was sick. He'll return to court next week.
In a case where so many people are already polarized as to the right or wrongfulness of a case, taking away key elements of the prosecution.
What kind of pose is this? Really, what's going on? What kind of pose is this? And he talking about he's sick. What? Oh, the case was, the trial was paused. He's not feeling well. Wow, really? So, I mean, you're not questioning him on the stand. So what is going on that he can't sit there and listen to evidence go before the jury? Like, why are you stalling this? Very disturbing. I find this very disturbing. What about you? Do you find it disturbing? Because if you find it disturbing or not, I'm still telling you I find it disturbing. It's disturbing to me. But let's resume. Again, this is for educational purposes.
Case won't win the trial for the defense, but will definitely help them a lot.
Our soap and our products are for anybody who
Okay, that was the end of that. So I found that whole story extremely disturbing. And if for whatever reason, it makes me think of the Dylan Roof story. And the whole thing about them finding him in McDonald's. And I just don't understand why does a fast food chain have to be involved at all, right? But I do want to, highlight the fact that saying something, if you see something, does obviously work, because allegedly, people said something. You know what I'm saying? How are you, Lefty? Good to see you. So you know about the case I'm talking about, or did you just come in? The fact that the McDonald's manager didn't even want to call it in disturbs me. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Really? Somebody was murdered cold blood in New York, a CEO, and you don't know what to do? If somebody says they've believed that the person of interest is in your sitting in your store, I don't really know what to do. Oh, I bet if he was not that person, if he was some black man, they would know what to do. They would feel empowered and responsibility to apprehend this person themselves. Ha! Right? They would feel empowered. And, oh, I have to do something. I have to apprehend this person myself. Do I have the story? I have the story about it's a stupid story, yo. This story, so we can move on if y'all not going to talk about it. But I had put the tabs up, right? But for some reason, well, I have the tabs situated in a certain way. So let's just go along with the way I have the tabs. Okay, so that's the story I think is horrible and strange. But I wanted to talk about a lot of different stories. So, and I wanted you to see how they're talking about it, and that I feel like you should be paying attention to that case. Now, another thing I was disturbed about, and first of all, so on my recommendations for videos on my YouTube, right, they have all these documentaries and docuseries on there. And one of them was about Trayvon Martin. And it's called the Trayvon Martin hoax. And it is by a white man. And I wanted to see what was going on, what he had to say, right? And I watched the whole thing, but I was mostly disturbed. It was a very disturbing documentary to begin with. But what made it more disturbing, and why I'm saying you need to watch everything, is because they mentioned something that I wasn't aware of, and that's what I wanted to share. And I was disturbed by it. Okay. Very disturbed. Again, this is for educational purposes. I will make it large.
Track record. I've been privileged to be an advisor and a spokesman for Tawana Brawley.
Like his hero, Al Sharpton, Benjamin Crump became a national figure because of a race hoax.
He was named the National Trial Lawyers Top 100 Lawyers in America, Ebony Magazine Power 100 Most Influential African Americans.
Crump wasted no time at all arriving in Ferguson, Missouri with Reverend Al for the next big Trayvon hoax.
That prosecutor has no regards for the young person of color.
The Ferguson effect caused a crime disaster in black neighborhoods as cops backed off proactive policing. Thousands more black youth have been killed each year as a result. Then
that alone is disturbing, right? That alone is disturbing. Now the reason why I ran it to that right up there, we're going to still continue on, but I need you to focus on it. Okay. So Ben Crump is one of the attorneys that handles a lot of the cases that we are aware of via media and through National Action Network. And what they're getting ready to say in this next clip, I think is very disturbing. But what I wanted you to hear, and I want you to question, is how they said how black neighborhoods haven't improved, right? And they showed what I get out of it. Because see, I know in New York we have a hands up, guns down organization. And so we're getting all these little organizations and catchphrases, but the neighborhood's not improving. That doesn't work for me. In fact, that's that to me comes off very obvious and clear that people are being manipulated and used. Because if anything, if attention is brought to a situation and there's money generated, I would think it's safe to assume that the area would improve, not get worse, right? Like that's the whole thing, bringing attention to an issue, bringing in resources so improvement can take place, so that the things that were not there can be put in place. An example, if you say we have youth that are there, they don't have anything to do, they're idle, and you're able to highlight that in this area, in this neighborhood, they don't have community centers, create a community center, right? They don't have safe playgrounds. The playgrounds aren't clean the playgrounds, right? They are unsafe, make it safe. So you put down the asphalt, you make sure that the basketball courts have the hoops with the nets and everything. And, you really have the Parks Department in there on a regular basis, taking care of the public park, right? That sounds like it makes sense, but the unfortunate outcome has been that the neighborhood has not improved and more people have been unalived. And then, of course, they want to say black on black crime. But what was the monies to bring in the improvement? So where was the job development? Where were the organizations that were bringing in things for the youth? So the programs, right? So the sports programs, basketball clinics, football, soccer, tennis, volleyball, whatever, right? The jobs for having counselors, and so more and so forth, security, counselors, social workers, whatever. But instead, you don't see it. It's not there. There wasn't even a plan for it. That's not acceptable. We cannot continue on like this. Let's resume to the video. Again, this is a clip from the Trayvon Martin hoax video, which is available on YouTube for free to watch. You can just put it in there and you can see it from beginning to end. I'm showing you a clip that is involving Ben Crump. And let's continue so you can see. Again, this is for educational purposes.
Crump went Hollywood, starting his own film production company, producing, ironically, Evidence of Innocence.
Going and getting an iced tea and Skittles.
Of course, Crump endorsed Andrew Gillum.
My energy bill dropped from one.
I cut it off because he's showing a commercial, and that's the point. That's all I wanted to make. The point I wanted to make is that he has this production company. You know who else has that? Jay-Z. Jay-Z has been doing films on regarding cases where our people have been getting killed, and they share the story. But they're profiting. These are situations where people are profiting off of our pain, right? But I need you to look into it. I need you to see that. I need you to understand that, right? So we're getting more movies. I need you to look at the movies because we do have a lot of them on platforms where it's free. So the Finding Kendrick Johnson documentary is available on YouTube for free. And that is the story of the young man that went missing, and they found his body rolled up in his own school. And something took place where they decided to get a second opinion from the person that does the examining of the body. And when they exhumed the body, and the examiner looked over the body and checked it, they found that his body was stuffed with newspaper, that his organs had been removed and not put back in place. So his organs were taken, they were collected. And they have a documentary about it. Again, that name is Kendrick Johnson. These are stories you can look up, you can see, because they have them, right? They have them out. Jay-Z was involved with the Netflix movie 13, but there's a lot of movies that are out here now. And I want you to be familiar with that. I want you to look into it. I saw the movie 13 because there was at one point I had Netflix. But I saw a lot of movies, and not one of them didn't disturb me. But what I would say is that when it comes to the Trayvon Martin documentary, which I said is on YouTube, you can watch it. It hit home for me because I have met the mother and father of Trayvon through National Action Network. Okay, they had a panel at one of their conventions where all of those mothers had came and they had spoken. In this particular documentary, they claim that and that doesn't mean just because it's on video or something that is correct, but they had claimed in the video, in this documentary, that the Trayvon Martin, right, had started exhibiting defiant behavior, and that the father was not involved. And when he was asked if he knew that his child had been cutting class and that his grades had dropped, he said he did not know. And there's just a lot of things in the video, in this documentary, that was very disturbing. It was very disturbing because you can see things after the fact, right? So it's after the fact that you may feel there could have been some prevention there, and there was not. In this particular documentary, I would encourage you to look at it. And I don't think people would look at it or would have even thought about it because this is a white guy talking about it. And some of the components in this particular documentary is kind of comical or could be made fun of. I don't know if that's how he did it that way to try to make it digestible, right? So we're walking in their neighborhood, and I don't know, but if you pay attention, okay, you'll see that he accuses the family of using a false witness at the stand, and so on and so forth. And that's for you to just see, to know for yourself, because we do have stories time and time again that there's a playbook people play. And I find that the only reason people get away with it is because the majority of people are not aware of the playbook and their rules, right? So, we have to teach people. You got to make them aware and then encourage them to also look at things that highlight these things, because everybody doesn't know how they're getting played, right? They may, after the fact, see they got played, but they don't necessarily know how did they get played, why did they get played. So, again, I need you to look up the movies Jay-Z has been involved in. Look up Ben Crump, because sometimes people say stuff and it's not true, or they are embellishing it. So you look it up yourself to see for yourself, because we like to talk about people, supporting each other, and the corruption is at the top, but what are we learning from it? I don't. So when you look at a lot of these things, so the Kanika Jenkins case. But anyway, before we go there, I had wanted to highlight a case that I think is so crazy. It's just some of these stories have been so outlandish and crazy, and I have to bring that up to you. I want you to know it's almost hilarious, because it just doesn't seem realistic. It's just so weird. Let me show you. Okay, so now, you know, the guy I say is the Haitian horse. Thank you for being with me for over an hour. Appreciate it. Appreciate your hanging in there with me. So the guy called the Haitian horse, for the first time, literally, really for me, he actually sent me a story, right? And you know, like, I get people send me stories and stuff, but I don't necessarily talk or cover them. But this particular one, I heard about it from him first, and then I started seeing other content creators talk about it. And I was liking that the other content creators were talking about it, and I was feeling like I don't need to talk about it because other people are talking about it. But the problem is that the majority of people that I watch aren't talking about it. And that just goes to show, see, because the Haitian horse sent it to me. He has his own YouTube channel and he didn't even cover it. But again, the thing that's the flattering and that you need to pay attention to what you're as a content creator yourself, if you are, is that some people feel that your platform is seen more, right? And that it'll have more traction if you cover it. So for anyone to really act like that to me is flattering and nice. But like I said, I have invited people to my channel, and they have for me to interview and so forth. And they said, I don't know who watches your channel, and I don't feel comfortable. Like, they have literally told me that, and I just think it's so interesting. And of course, I get frustrated and upset about it because I want to have that content and I want to interview the person, and they do not want to do it, right? They don't want to be on my platform. And I have approached some people that have been on platforms where the video says they only had 13 views, right? And I'm like, why would you not want to be on my platform? And I think they want to just have 13 views. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've literally seen some people where the numbers are so low. The subscribers are not watching it because you have way more than 13 subscribers. Why you only have 13 views? But anyway, I was flattered. But I was like, I did some research, and I was like, you know, people are going to talk about it. I'm not going to worry about it. I don't have a Haitian channel. I don't often talk about Haitian news, but I do have subscribers that have identified as Haitian or that are familiar with Haitian or are Caribbean. And I wouldn't say that I usually I do stories that cover it. But what I would say is that I have been looking at more Caribbean stories, like stories that are based in Jamaica, stories that are based in, other countries. Hi to Sharia. Thank you so much for saying hi. So I want to share this story again. This is for educational purposes. and it goes back to us going in their neighborhood, right? Because I think sometimes people are not looking at news that have white people involved in it, which is okay. So let's do a mix. Okay, I'm not saying to solely do it, but I'm saying we need to stop playing around. We need to, as a group, right? Because I think some of this stuff is so weird, and we need to say, really, guys? So here. This story, this is a crazy story to me. And I think I'm just highlighting crazy stories to y'all today, but it's crazy stories that are real and that they hit home and they're strange. And I don't feel enough people are talking about it for me because they're weird stories. So let's go. Let's begin.
Two North Texas men accused of plotting to invade a foreign island, kill the men, and take the women as sex slaves.
Prosecutors say one of the men enlisted in the Air Force to get military training he thought he needed. Fox 4's Blake Hansen.
You don't think that's weird? And I don't know why she said as an island. So they wanted to go, they was plotting the plan to go to this area in Haiti. In this particular area in Haiti, they decided that they can kill all of the men and they're going to take the women and children and make them sex slaves. Like who, this is 2025. Like who even thinks like that? And I found it really interesting and crazy because of the fact that I've had so many conversations on YouTube with the whole sexist conversations and panels where they keep saying that women do the same thing as men and all this kind of stuff. And one of my arguments in that conversation is that if that was the case, then the men would kill the adult women. They would not try to keep them as a prisoner because they are a threat. But because they are identified as vulnerable like children, they just arrest them. They capture them and they kill the men. And some of them, they could be teenage boys. Some people kill all boys. But so if that's the case, then how are y'all equal? You're not equal because people when they take over, they get rid of the threats, and women are not threats. But you can't tell them anything. Like when you're having that conversation with a feminist, the feminist is like, women can and women do and all of this stuff. And I'm like, that's not even historical. Like, where are you basing this from historically? Like, this doesn't make sense. But we have a lot of senseless conversations on YouTube and just amongst adults anyway. So it's not uncommon. But this is a crazy story. I remember when I first saw the story, they only identified one of the white men. And as they continue to have traction with the story and of interest, they released the other pictures. So this is what both of the men's faces up, right? But they did not, when I first saw the story, they did not show the picture of the guy with the short hair. And I thought that was disturbing. Like, I find that in a lot of media coverage with white people, they don't try to show you a picture at all. They'll show you a silhouette. They'll tell you maybe the gender, or they won't even do that. They'll say a person of interest. They won't give you no identity. That's why I tell people this all the time. Nobody really cares about what I'm saying sometimes. I feel that people hear me and they don't have anything to do with what I'm saying. But when it comes to the situation of the guy who choked out the black homeless person on the train, they said his name was Daniel Penny. But when they first did the story, they would not release his name. And as the community started, and they were all kind of people, they're New Yorkers of all races. They were so disturbed about them killing that man on the train that people took it upon themselves to jump inside of the train tracks. And because of the outrage, they released the name. But I don't believe that was the name. I don't believe his name is Daniel Penny. I don't believe it because they didn't release it first. And people always be like, I said, I don't believe that's his name. I believe that they give you fake names. because they demand a name. So they give you a name to shut you up. And then they let him stay with that name, but it's not his name. Or it could be changed, like Monica Lewinsky, because her name was so tied with a horrible stigma that they changed it. She changed it. And the same with I'm just talking about things that come to my mind when we talk about these stories. I think about Dolezal, Rachel Dolezal, the one that was with the NAACP that they said was a white woman and she was trying to pass as biracial or whatever. She changed her name because so many people knew her as Rachel Dolezal that she changed it so she could try to have another, get work and stuff, and because it became so popular. But y'all can tell me in the comment section if you feel that, like, that Daniel Penny's not that guy's name. But I don't know. I guess if you get enough people, it just doesn't sound like a real name to me. I don't know why. It just doesn't. Let's go back.
In our newsroom tonight with these stunning allegations, Blake.
Yeah, Stephen Heather, federal prosecutors say the suspects didn't plan to go it alone. In fact, the feds say they plan to recruit people who are homeless in Washington, D.C. to serve on their, quote, expeditionary force and take over a small Haitian island. The grand jury indictment.
Okay, so that is how I saw the story originally. I don't know why they have a split like that, but originally they showed it with the guy in a silhouette. Okay, that's what they do. And then for some reason they always showed the guy with the long hair. I don't know why. And then I thought it was so weird and disturbing how they said that they wanted to recruit unhoused people in Washington, D.C. Like, so are you telling me that there are, because it sounds to me like when I heard that, but it sounds like to me a very racist kind of plot and plan, right? But when you throw in these homeless people from Washington, are you talking about white homeless men? Or are you talking about any kind of men? Because when I think about homeless people, I don't think about only white people. You know what I mean? So who are they trying to recruit? I want to know. Anyway, let's go back.
Handed up today charges 21-year-old Gavin Weisenberg from Allen and 20-year-old Tanner Thomas from Argyle with conspiracy to murder, maim, or kidnap in a foreign country, as well as a charge of production of child pornography. Record Joe Weisenberg was booked into the Collin County Jail in July. We've not been able to find a mugshot for Thomas. Prosecutors say he was in the U.S. Air Force at the time. The place they are accused of plotting to invade is called Gonave Island. It is part of the Republic of Haiti. It's not small. In fact, that island has about 87,000 residents.
Again, I never heard of Gonave Island. So they're talking about Haiti, but they're mentioning something I've never heard of, right? And I feel like I had did research about Haiti, and one of the places I wanted to go to, which I have found to be something I thought would be nice, was Jacmel. Even though I know people from Cape Haitian and so forth, I wanted to go check out Jacmel. And so then they're going to mention Gonave, like they mentioned another area that I've never even heard of. And I was like, where was that? So I looked it up on YouTube, and they have, videos of people talking from that area in Haiti, which I've never heard of it. It just shows you how Haiti has even more. It's just so much to Haiti. And I was like, why did they decide that they wanted to go there? There has to be something more. But will we find out? also notice in this particular clip, the person who I'm getting this feed from, that I'm using the channel, is showing the original video I saw, and they have put in the picture of both of the faces. The original video that I saw is the one he's playing, where they're not showing you the picture of the guy. He's showing that's why his picture's staying there. He's showing you the picture of both of them. Okay, let's go back. Again, this is for educational purposes. I'm going to mute myself and play it. Resume.
Prosecutors say Weisenberg and Thomas planned to lead that expeditionary force by sailboat to the island, murder the men, take control of the island, and then turn the women into sex slaves, according to prosecutors. The feds say the plan dates back to August of last year. They say Weisenberg enrolled in a Rockwall Fire Academy to learn command and control protocols, but flunked out in February. They say he then traveled to Thailand to learn how to sail, but didn't enroll in the school due to the cost. The feds say Thomas, meanwhile, enlisted in the Air Force in January and in March, changed his station assignment from Germany to Maryland to better coordinate the invasion and recruit the homeless population in D.C. We reached out to attorneys listed for Weisenberg and did not hear back. We could not find attorneys listed for Thomas. Prosecutors say they face up to life in prison if convicted on the conspiracy to murder charge.
Kill the men and take the women as sex slaves. Kill the men.
So, don't y'all think that's a crazy story? I think that was crazy, but what's more interesting to me is the actual idea of them recruiting homeless men from Washington, D.C. They don't say to us white homeless men. So what does that mean? It does bother me. I wonder, right? And then, does it even matter if it's not about white people, but the two people that are doing it are two white men? But anyway, because I think that they're bringing up the white guys, these young white guys, because they want to make it like it's racist. But why do they want to go to Gonave Island? What does Gonave Island have that we don't know about? I would really like to know. And I want you to look that up. I want you to look up Gonave Island. And in the comment section, if you want, y'all can tell me what is it that appeals to them. Because I do think it's important. So look up that, right? Look up Gonave Island. Something about that island that they want. Why would you go to a place that you know that they have been independent? Like, they are the first Black republic that's been independent. So why do you think that you can come in, go to that island and overtake it? Something about that. I've never heard of this place. There's something about that they feel they have a point of entry. Why do they think that? Why is that the weakest link? Something that they've researched. But anyway, y'all haven't been commenting. It's all good. It's okay. I got most of everything I wanted to talk about off my chest. And I appreciate you guys for coming in, for replaying and whatever. I appreciate you. But again, so I would like you to check out Finding Kendrick Johnson. This is available on Facebook, on YouTube for free. I want you to look up the Trayvon Martin Holtz. That is free on YouTube. I want you to look up the movie projects Jay-Z's been involved in and Ben Crump. And I would like you to check out Gonave Island and have a discussion with me in the comment section about your findings. And I want you to have a great night. I appreciate you guys. And I bid you Good night. And I also want you to remember to I want you to I want you to leave with you doing your tour of I want you to do your tour of white neighborhoods. Don't forget to tour the white neighborhood. I need you to do it. White videos, whatever. I need you to go on tour the white neighborhoods. Okay? Okay, guys. Later.